and welcome to Own It Magazine and Publishing. My name is Marisa Bludon. I am your host. This is a special edition of Own It. This is when we feature our cover features. And in this instance, we have a triple cover feature. In fact, we've been doing that all year long, which was a bonus because many of the individuals, the wonderful, fabulous individuals that we have featured in our magazine, they do multiple things. And so Own It has Own It Magazine and Publishing, which is our personal, professional, and business development magazine. Then we also have Lifestyles and Leisure Living, all work and no play. No way. We got to have some fun in all of this, right? And then Own It Magazine publishes magazines as well as books. And so with that conviction in our heart, how can we not advocate for literacy? And so we have the Lit magazine. Danielle, DANI Matthews is honored us and been on all three covers at the same time. So if you've not seen these issues this month, we are going to be posting them all through the night as this is the end of our November month. But taking center stage and owning it with me is Danielle DANI Matthews. She is the author of Pretty Little Bastard Child, a memoir of the darkness that turned on God's light. She is that and so much more. You have got to dive in and listen to this conversation as it takes us, and we're fully transparent. And that's what I love about this individual is the transparency and keeping it real. Come on, take center stage, Danny, and own it. How are you?
Hey, clock that. As the young people say, clock that. Clock that.
It's so
hey, everybody. Hey, Marissa, what's happening, girl? How you doing?
Man, it's such a pleasure. You are so much fun. Your energy, your natural presence and being, you're just so much fun to be around. That's so needed. Yes, that's so needed in these times is to be around people who resonate and, send out positive energy, positive vibes, and just making you feel good. And so I introduce you. You're an author, you're a speaker, you're an entrepreneur, and you've done some amazing things. So let's start with just introducing yourself to our audience.
Oh, good evening, everybody. My name is Danny, author Danny, Deacon Danny, Chef Danny. Those are the hats that I wear. Now I am a producer, director, and in the process of becoming a writer for a script for my own publications, and just moving and grooving. God said go, I go, and if he dropped it in my heart and I'm still here through all of the stuff that I've been through, the muck and the mire, man, then that means that I need to go out and make it happen. So that's who I am.
That's oh my God, and you're making it happen. And we're gonna get into your producing side because I want to save that a little bit towards the end because we're gonna really dive into that because that's your journey. That's your journey. And so I want to show some of these covers. So we have on it, but I want to talk about the Lifestyles and Leisure Living magazine. From New York, Hollywood, traveling all over the world. And this particular issue, we highlight Saint Martin, which is one of your favorite spots. And you talk about traveling as part of a journey towards healing. Share with our audience. You've been around, man. And so share with our audience about, why it's important to travel and get out there.
Well, for me, coming from New York, coming from a background of childhood trauma, and then finding my way for ups and downs of almost 30 years of drug addiction. First, I became a drug dealer, then I was a drug user, and then an abuser. At one point, I couldn't leave the block because I thought I was going to miss something on the block. So I was stuck, and I was stuck in more ways than one. And then, God would have it where I changed my life in 1989. I got clean. And I realized, wow, there's a bigger world out there than just, Brooklyn, Queens, Manhattan, Staten Island, and the Bronx. You know what I'm saying? So, at that point, I had relocated to New Jersey, and some other stuff came about. But as life would have it, I decided that what, there was a Narcotics Anonymous convention in the Bahamas. I was like, what, I'm going. I'm going. And back then, you didn't need a passport for the Bahamas. I don't know if that's changed, but I went to the Bahamas and celebrating and speaking, at a convention. But it was my first trip clean and sober out of the United States. And from that point forward, it was like, yo, you mean I've been missing this all these years? I think I was in in my early 30s at the time. Yes, it was in the 90s. So, from that point forward, it was like, oh my God. And I sat at the edge of the ocean, and I'd never seen turquoise water like that. I saw it on TV, but I didn't know it existed, And man, when I tell you from that point forward, it was like every extra dollar, every time I could, I wasn't doing drugs, I wasn't smoking cigarettes no more, I wasn't doing none of that stuff that, absorb a lot of money that people don't realize how much they spend on those things. uh my yeah, my drug became traveling. Every time, I got stressed out, every time there's something going on, every time I got a vacation time, it was like different flights, and that's what I did. So it helped with my mental, my emotional, my spiritual healing and growing, and culture, building, and I just continued to do it. And now it's like I don't know what life is like anymore. Not that.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, it's a constant movement. And it's also too so important to get away,
Mhm,
get away from your,
mhm,
like you
mhm.
said, neighborhood. Also, too, do you think that it broadened your perspective in regards to diversity, like, really seeing different cultures, and you talk about being a chef here, eating different foods and
Mhm.
experiencing that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. The first time I went to St. Martin, no, when I was in the Bahamas, the first time I traveled, they had conch fritters, right? And I'm like, okay, I had always saw those little shells. People would have the conch shells, right? And I'm like, when you blowing it, it echoes, and you can hear the ocean and all that stuff, right? But I was high, it didn't mean nothing. But but when I went to the Bahamas and I was clean, right? They said, "Here, try these conch fritters," right? And I'm like, "What's that?" And then they showed me the shell. I was like, "Oh, wow!" So conch fritters and different ways. And then I didn't know the difference between a Maine lobster and a Caribbean lobster, and they're totally different. Maine lobsters have claws. Caribbean lobsters have, the tentacles, and they taste different. They have meat all through the body, where our lobsters only have tail meat and claw meat. Oh my God, it was just so amazing. I got on the jitney for the first time and went down where the locals, and it was like, holy moly. I mean, it gave me an appreciation for being American, but it also gave me an appreciation for being able to see the way, the natives live, and go eat their culture, like off the resort cooking, and uh 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 um um the oh my God, the parades and the carnival and the junk canoe and all of that stuff that happens in other countries, and and then going to Chichen Itza when I went to Mexico, and Isla Mujeres, and learning how time came down through the pyramid. That's, oh my God, it was like, wow, they never taught me this in school.
Oh, no, no. And see, you had conch fritters. I've had
Right.
conch where it's scooped right out of the shell and
Mhm,
put
mhm,
a little lemon and lime sauce on it, and you just eating
mhm.
it right then and there. It's not even
Yo,
going
I they
anywhere.
offered that to me, but it's something about like different textures. Like, I don't do clams on half shell either. I'll do a clams casino or clams Rockefeller. You gotta cook cook it just a little bit for me. I can't. I
Yeah.
don't like runny eggs either. Like sunny side up.
No, I
No,
don't like
I'm
runny
good. I'm
eggs
good.
either. No, no,
I
no.
know how to do it. But I'm
That's not
good.
your
I'm good.
desire. But yeah, just so
little
it
lemon juice and
just
hot sauce right now.
so it just opens you up to exploring things that you would have never
Right.
experienced before. And just like you said, just getting into the heartbeat
Yes.
of the culture, not the resort, because that's
Right.
that's fancy. But when you go in and you're able to spend
Hmm.
time with the people and see how they live, and then
With the
also too, a lot of
people.
times we're looking and saying, "Oh, poor, they got these struggles," but they are happy. Many times they are very
Hmm.
happy with the
Hmm.
simplicity of life,
Yeah.
and so
Yeah.
yeah,
And they know how to live off the land, man. They know how to live off the land too. It's like, comforts that we are spoiled to, you know, uh, they ain't spoiled to that, but they know how to adjust. They know how to, react without certain things, and they've lived without those things, and they're less stressed. They're more jovial. They're, like real deal Holyfield down to earth. Like even just now when I came back, I celebrated my birthday beginning of the month in St. Martin. And oh my God, I ran into an older lady who I just kind of hired her for the last few days to take me around and show me, where I wanted to go and so on and so forth. And she just hit me up on WhatsApp. You know what I'm
oh
saying? Like I
wow,
made a new friend. You know what I'm saying? And
yes,
sweetheart
yes,
sends me a blessing every morning. Good night. I hope your day was good. My sister. And it's not like she wants anything from me. She's just
no,
blessing my life, and she blessed my
yes,
life so royally while we were there. And it was like,
yes,
wow, amazing. Shit.
yes,
It's so much of an eye opener. Like book the flight, man. You scared to fly. Look, I'm scared to walk in certain neighborhoods in America. Okay, look, I'm getting on the plane. And listen. I don't know. I just that's my drug. That's my niche. That's what when I feel like I need a break, I'm going somewhere.
yeah, yeah,
I'm getting on
yeah.
a plane and I'm going somewhere.
And
You
it's
know.
so important to not only work hard, but to play hard. That's not just, some of the things that we have a tendency to say, that's cliche ish, is
Hmm.
very serious business because we
Yeah.
talk about burnout, we talk about depression, we talk about
Oh yeah.
unfulfillment. Unfulfillment
Hmm.
comes because you're not celebrating. And
You.
there are ways. So even for me, I just watch flights. I just a flight
Hmm.
watcher. Like see when the
Hmm.
flight goes down to the price that I want to pay. Um, or also too purchasing a one way ticket when you have the money for that, and then go back in and as you watch the return flight go
Right.
down,
Right.
buy your second flight. I do that too. Make it happen. Also, too, when you're flying
Hmm.
different places and they don't have a nonstop available, you just watch until a nonstop available comes up. Those are some of the things that you have to learn
Yeah.
how to play around with because you don't. It does not have to
Hmm.
break your
Hmm.
bank to travel. You can do it.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Oh yeah. I'm a ball on a budget.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. I
I'm a
like that.
ball
I'm
on a
a
budget.
on a budget. There you go. And so I want to
Ball on
shift
a
up.
budget, baby.
I want to shift up on gears. I want to talk about the lit cover.
Hmm.
And we own it magazine. We
Okay.
publish a gazillion books, magazines, and all of that stuff. Let's talk
Hmm.
about the Pretty Little Bastard Child, the book that you published. And I know that this is not the
Hmm.
only book that you've actually published or been have
Hmm.
participated in, but talk about the
Hmm.
publishing experience, being an author, and what that means to you and what
Hmm.
you wrote about.
Okay. Well, Pretty Little Bastard Child is me. I am the Pretty Little Bastard Child. That was my first book that I self-published. As you said, it is a story about child's traumatized childhood. Um, and it took me 18 years to write about Pretty Little Bastard Child, only because life kept lifing my life, moving around. I was a new person in my life. There was distractions. I wrote the first 10 pages of I wrote the first 10 pages of Pretty Little Bastard Child, my manuscript back in 2005. I didn't get it done until 2023. God just sat me down for 6 months. I had a spinal surgery and I was about to lose my mind. I had just moved to a new company, a brand new company store. And 90 days later, my back imploded. So it was like I had found the manuscript and I had nothing else to do but write. And it was at a time in my life where it was like, okay, God made everything possible, everything that worked, that I thought it was the devil working out for my
Right.
demise. It was God working out for my good. I put the pen to the pad and I wrote the book. I didn't even know how to publish. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to go about nothing. I saw somebody that I know had written a book and I contacted them and I said, hey, look, can you help me write this book? And they contacted Ex Libris. They told me I would own my own copyright or own my own ISBN. I didn't even know what ISBN was. But I was like, okay, you said I own it. All right, cool. I'm going with it. And I wrote the book, and my life has changed for the worse. When you let go of family secrets, you lose some of the family that didn't know, and they don't know how to deal with you now. Even though they knew you were on going to do this. I mean, it's a memoir. It's not like it's like fiction or a
Right.
novel or something like that. Like it's true live stuff, and I'm letting the cat out the bag on a lot of stuff. So you know, um, unfortunately, it drew a wedge between myself and some of my family members, and I figured that it would. But the blessing of healing is that it's my story and I'm
Right.
telling it to heal my wounds, so
Yep.
I could stay sane, so I can grow, so I can glow in peace, and some people are not going to be okay with that. To this day, I know a lot of my family that appreciated me more when I was using, because to get you out of my face. I was a yes person. Here, whatever you want. Yep, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it because I didn't want you bothering my high. Like, bro, you
Right.
messing up my head.
Yeah.
Let me go. Don't leave me alone. But now that I'm in a different place and I've learned how to set boundaries and I've learned how to say no when I mean no, and stand on that. I'm good and grown. We not gonna act like a thing ain't a thing.
Right.
And people don't like you to. It's funny, and I tell people this all the time. Um, it's funny. People will shun you for being gay, but they'll protect a perpetrator. That's a family molester. That's molested more than one
Right.
person in the
Right.
family, and they'll protect them, but put you out because you're a same gender loving person. And I'm like, yeah, okay. It's crazy, but I stepped out on faith and I told my story, and it led to it led to us meeting. It led to me and your girl Tiffany meeting. It led
Yes.
to a couple of
Tiffany.
other
Shout out.
yeah. Miss Para Williams,
That's right.
Williams Para, fitness, Phoenix
Fanatics.
Fitness in the house.
Fanatics.
You know what I'm saying? It led to me having communication with other authors and learning some of the importance of keeping our stories out there the way that they're trying to silence and taking away our freedom of speech. I'm going to say
Yes.
everything that I mean. I'm going to mean what I say, and I'm going to try to say it mean if at all possible. But if not, oh well. The president calls people fat so and all of that stuff straight from the White House. So how you want to try to dead somebody else's
Right.
creativity But I've put out two anthologies since then. I'm working on another anthology, as well as by the end of December, um, volume 2 of Pretty Little Bastard Child will be out, which is called Searching. Um, yeah, that which takes you to the next level, because
Yes.
I couldn't put it all in one book. I had to bite it off in small chews because it's so much to unpack. Uh, but I'm grateful, you know, and I'm on my healing journey because I stepped out on and said, the hell with it. You know, you only live once, and I'm getting older, and it made me wiser, to go ahead and write what I needed to write and free myself. Again, I didn't do this for nobody else. I'm telling my story. I'm sharing my pain because it's my purpose. Somebody out there is healing because I shared my pain, you
Amen.
know. So
Amen. Amen. And that's so powerful because so many people shrink back instead of sharing their truth so that they can get healed. They have a tendency to conform,
mhm,
right? It's to keep it
mhm.
safe. And I'm not sure if you're
Right,
familiar with Maslow's
right.
hierarchy of needs, but I'll talk about it all day because it talks about that self actualization
Mhm,
where at that fourth level you're ready to either you're going to stay inside the expected circle
mhm,
and do what is expected and
mhm.
socially acceptable,
Yeah,
or you're gonna buck
yeah.
that system and say the hell with it, I'm gonna be who I be. Right. And so self-actualization is just coming into the fullness of your own freedom from what anybody else thinks, feels, or has an opinion about, and
Mhm,
being true and authentic to yourself. And it takes courage. I remember when I wrote my first book, one, I was trying to figure out, what was my messaging? How was I going to do this? How was I going to mix life with, career development and business development? Because it's all tied together. We can't compartmentalize all of this. We are one person, and
absolutely.
it's in all of us. That's why I Own It
Mhm,
focuses on personal, professional, and business development. Because in order for you to succeed in your career, you got to get yourself right. In order for
mhm.
you to succeed in a business, you still got to get yourself right. Because the one variable that never changes is you. You gonna
Right.
be wherever you want to go, and whatever, and you're gonna
It's
be
you.
involved in whatever you're gonna
There
do.
you
Right?
go.
You cannot. So Own It is about self
Mhm.
awareness, which when you become aware, you
I
should
think
want to, right? Hmm.
mhm, mhm.
Yes. So you should want to develop. And in that development process and on that development journey, you begin to master yourself. And just like you're
Yeah.
saying
You
here,
know, I think who was it? Mhm,
go ahead.
mhm. I I believe our connection is going in and out, so
That's okay.
trying to work my way through it. But I believe it what was Teddy Pendergrass who said it best. You can't hide from yourself. Everywhere you go, there you are, right? Um, look in the mirror, there you are. Walking down the street, look in the store window, there you go. There you are. You know what I'm saying? Everywhere you go, you take you with you. Now, what version of you take with you is still up to you.
Yep.
you
Amen.
know, um, my trauma is not my fault, my tagline, but my healing is my responsibility. Once you deal with the fact that it happened, whatever it is, you lost the dream job. Okay, so what do? You sit, you go for another dream job, or you take that dream that's inside of you and make it your dream job.
Right.
But whatever you do, you have to be okay with you. You have to be okay with that gnarly little toe on your left foot. You need to be okay with that mole that has always looked like a booger by your nose, whatever it is. And that's just outer stuff. But
Right. Right.
if I have this saying that I say, right, that if one person call you a horse, you could get away with it. But if 5, 6 people call you a horse, saddle up. You know, you a horse. Now let's ride. What we gonna do? So
Right. 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 So just want to give a shout out to BJ Martin. She is watching. Thank you so much for chiming in, BJ. Anna, thank
You
you
can
so
do
much
that.
for chiming in and being a part of, just listening in. This is amazing.
Mhm.
So own it is just that. Own it, the good, the bad, the ugly, and indifferent. The minute that you own that
Absolutely.
in your life, then you can rest. You don't have to keep
Mhm.
toiling. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Toiling,
That's
toiling.
it.
So I wanna shift us over because this out of the covers,
Mhm.
this is my favorite one. This is your Hollywood, and this is the Own It cover. So this is the Own It Personal, Professional, and Business Development magazine that you're on the cover of. And
Yeah.
I want to talk about with this. We talk about personal, professional development in Own It magazine.
Mhm.
So let's talk about the producer in you. I wanted to say, like I said,
Okay.
save this for last because this really spoke to me. I mean, you did an excellent job. And
Mhm.
like I said, I ain't
Thank you.
blowing smoke up your butt.
Okay. Okay. I
No,
get it.
you
Thank
you
you.
you did a phenomenal
Thank
job,
you.
and I could relate so much to it because remember I told you those New York City days that I had as a young woman
Mhm.
going to
Mhm.
Bentleys and to what is it
Mhm. Mhm.
to
Mhm.
Bentleys what was it
Red
Savage
Parrot and
Red
Bentleys in the
Parrot
garage and all of that stuff. Oh my
hello right
God.
so
Sheesh.
when and then
Yes.
always
Yes.
listening to your voice you just take me back to the city anyway so talk about
Mhm.
what was that like you came up with this but then also too it's like surreal when you're walking in what your vision is talk to us about that take your time but just share with us what you want to share with us
Well,
about that
the okay. Well, first of all, Harlem, The Making of the Monster is the name of the documentary. It's on Women to Women TV, which is a streaming network that's Black woman owned and operated. So first of all, I wanted to put something on a platform that looked like me, that was owned and operated by somebody that looked like me. Harlem is where all of the darkness in my life started, and that was the last place that I was before I got clean. Um, but my vision for the documentary was to put an eye on things that goes on in our communities, and not just our communities, but communities where once were thriving. You had Sugar Hill, Harlem was the land of milk and honey for Black people back in the day. Diane Carroll lived. Harry Belafonte, his children went to dance theater Harlem. All of that good stuff. You had Madam C.J. Walker. She had all of her businesses up in Harlem. I mean, you had Langston Hughes that went through Harlem. You had all of the good Black folk that were affluent back in the day. They at some point came through Harlem, and they came through Sugar Hill because that was the place you wanted to live. Riverside Drive, Edgecombe Avenue, all of those places. But there was so many secrets going on up in Harlem. If you dress nice and you look again, part of the precursor to Pretty Little Bastard Child was to expose some of the things that we didn't have going on. And even to this day, the gentrification that has changed Harlem, and a lot of the other bugaboos that were, hidden in a lot of closets up on Sugar Hill. So that was my vision, was to expose some of the things that we survived, not only survived through, but thrived through. And the best time to tell it was at our 25th anniversary of the Battleground, which is a park. It was a neighborhood park, and it was the 25th anniversary. And I thought that it would be not robbery to go through and tell our story. So.
yeah yeah and I love it I know you did an interview with two women
Mm-hmm.
that you knew as a kid
Mm-hmm.
what was
Mm-hmm.
their
Yeah,
relationship
they lived in
and
my building.
talk a little bit about
Yeah,
that
they
how
lived
did
in
that
my building. They lived in my building. The mother was actually one of my younger siblings' godmother. Uh, they lived on the fifth floor. We lived on the fourth floor, and the daughter actually babysat for my siblings. And it was a lot of stuff, like back in the day, the mothers on the block were revered. They were respected, and one mother was no different than my mother. If that mother saw me doing something, then she whipped my behind and took me to my mama, and I might get another butt whipping. And like, it really was a village back then, and of course, everybody wasn't being nosy for the right reason. Some people were being nosy just to spread your business and talk crap
Right.
about you, but a lot of people were being nosy because they cared. And you're talking about Tanya and Miss Denise, Mama
Yep.
Nisi and Tanya. Um, but they also saw the ugly side of the monster that was in me. And the making of the monster, I was the monster that Harlem made. But Harlem actually, born and bred, as well as the many wonderful things that Harlem born and bred. I mean, I went to private school as a kid, the first Black owned private school in Harlem. I went to that school as a kid. But we again we unravel the things, and the blessing is that they saw the revolution, they saw the elevation that God would have over my life to bring me from the place where they saw me and the place that I am now. So yeah, but they're still a part of my life, and I'm still grateful that they're here. So
Yeah, and it was really cool because I'm still friends with my teachers. And what
hmm
I really
hmm
loved was one, I keep telling you, I love the whole thing. I could watch it over and
yeah.
over again because it was just so cool and relevant, right?
Yeah,
You
yeah,
was going through the
yeah.
neighborhood. You where
Right,
they're
right.
playing basketball. You where they're you
Mhm,
outside. You're inside. But I
mhm, mhm.
loved about your teacher and how
Yes.
authentic she really, really
Mhm.
cared about you as her
Oh my
students.
God.
So talk
That's
about
right.
that.
Yeah, Joyce Greenleaf, my Joycey, as I affectionately call her. She lives in California now. She's retired from teaching, but she's an actress and she's out in
She
California.
looked like it too.
But she is and it's ironic that we found each other on Facebook after years of me just wondering where she was, and she never knew
Wow.
part of my story. And when I found her, I also found out that she would come and they would do a PS 28 sixth grade class reunion at Harlem Tavern up in Harlem. And so I was like, wow, that's dope. I want to be there. And I showed up at one of them, and then COVID struck, and she's a breast cancer survivor. She just kicked breast cancer right before COVID. And then part of the inspiration and the intention of me putting out my book was her 80th birthday was coming up, and I wanted, because my book has a very big part of it that's dedicated to her. And I wanted to gift her with the book for her 80th birthday. And that was part of the incentive for me to finish it by the deadline. And I did. And I was able to get it in her hands for her 80th birthday.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. But just to
Mhm.
see the exchange between the two of you
Yeah.
was beautiful as well. To see,
Hmm.
it's beautiful when you see those relationships, right? That they
Absolutely.
survive over the years and that
Yeah.
there really is care. And sometimes I think as kids and we're going to school, that sometimes we don't realize that the teachers really do care about us.
Yeah.
We don't get a
Yeah.
chance to see that. So,
Well,
um,
part of it too is that the government and the municipalities have taken so much control out of not only the parents' hands but the teachers' hands. Like back in the day, like if you got scolded by your teacher, you got scolded for real, but it came from a place of love. And then your mom came and she didn't take your word over the teacher's word. You understand what I'm
right,
saying? Like,
right.
it's totally different back then. And like she said, and please, please, if you're listening to the interview, go out, Women to Women TV,
Yes.
Harlem, the Making of the Monster. You have to watch the documentary, especially if you're from the New York area. If you're a native New Yorker, baby, you
There
definitely
you
gotta,
go.
you gotta watch it. But even she says it like, to this day, we're all in our 50s and 60s, and those of her students that, even she even had students that weren't her students, that would show up at the anniversaries at
Oh,
Harlem Tavern
absolutely.
because she touched their life, and we're still such a very big part of her life, and she is so proud of not only me, but all of her students that have not only survived some of the stuff that I talk about in the documentary, but that she's gotten back in touch with. And they all tell her the same thing: Miss G, if it wasn't for you, we wouldn't be here. Miss G, if it wasn't for
Yes.
you, I wouldn't have learned. I mean, this little Jewish lady was the first woman to teach us Lift Every Voice and Sing, which was the Black national anthem.
That's what I'm
Come
talking
on now.
about.
Come
That's what I'm
on
talking
now.
about. I'm talking about quality, quality and
Come on
care,
now.
and an
Mm,
agenda
mm,
that
mm.
says, I see you.
Mhm.
An agenda that
Because we're
says,
talking about in the 60s and the 70s. That was unheard of. People bucked because they didn't want to get, associated with, being a, excuse my French, a nigger lover, or,
right,
these are little black and brown kids. You're not supposed to put that much attention on them or give them that
right.
much. And Miss G, she wasn't having it. Like, we were her students, and she loved us. She nurtured us. She gave us that thing. And oh my God, I thank God for her. I love her so
Yes,
much. I do.
yes. What a blessing. And like I said, love the documentary. I had
Thank
it
you.
playing in the background while I was, working away. And I just thank you for allowing
Mhm.
me that opportunity to see it, to share with me, because you can post all day. We don't necessarily see everything that's being posted. But when you sent it to me directly, it was like,
Right.
oh my God, I got a chance to see
Yes.
that. And so, love it.
Yeah.
It's featured
Yeah.
in the Own It magazines, and
Mhm.
just super proud of you. Keep on doing what you're doing. And before
Thank
we
you.
close out, I want to show this is Pretty Little Bastard Child. This is the book that we've been talking about. Also, we've been talking about a documentary,
Mhm.
another book that's getting ready to come out, some anthologies that you're doing. You're
Mhm.
just a busy little bee. And
Mhm.
so,
I
talk to the
am.
people.
I am.
Yeah, yeah, but that's what we should be, right? A light poured out. I like
Oh yeah.
Diane,
Yeah.
Darlene
Mhm.
Shet says, I don't want a life that's all neat in a
Mhm.
box. I want a life that's poured out.
Mhm. Yeah.
Because that's
See,
how
the
they know.
reality of it all for me is I still work a full-time job, and I dedicate myself to whatever I step foot into, right? So if I'm dedicating 32 to 40 hours a week to myself, for somebody who's never going to pay me enough to buy a house right next door to them, why can't I dedicate that to myself and to what
Yes,
I'm, embarking upon to give myself and build a legacy for my family and my youngins,
yes.
it's important. It's
It's
important.
important. It's
But
important. So, what do you want
yeah,
to leave with our
but you can find me
audience?
there.
Yeah.
Well, the most important thing is forgiveness and healing. Healing and forgiveness is so important. The Anti Enterprise is the name of our company, and our production company, and it says SIMP in the middle. And a lot of people say, "Well, what does that stand for?" It stands for spiritual, emotional, mental, and physical healing. This all combined into one. You can't be mentally and emotionally healthy if you're physically unhealthy. You can't be spiritually healthy, and just because you're physically, look. Unless your spirit is right, you can't get that emotional, that mental, or that physical right. And once you get that, everything else is a part of that, like we discussed there. Everywhere you go, there you are. I want to be the light that walks into the room, that don't look at my outsides. Don't worry about who sleeps next to me tonight. I'm walking into the room to give you a blessing that God put on my spirit to
Yes.
give to you. That's your blessing for today, because your
Yes.
healing is your responsibility. And if I can give you something that can heal you, then my job for today is done. If I could give you a smile because it's free, that smile and that hug might keep you from jumping off the bridge tomorrow. So if
Yep.
I can't leave you with nothing else, be kind, because I'm going to be kind to you. Kindness. If you can be anything else in the world, be kind.
Mhm. Mhm. Beautifully said. Love it. And a perfect way to segue out. I just want to say thank you to those who chimed in today and listened in and just was a part of the conversation by just listening. Sometimes it just takes listening. We don't have to always talk
Yeah.
because sometimes we get so much more when we just, cállate la boca, like we say here, be quiet and just take it in. And so we just want to
Cállate
say,
la boca.
yeah, so we just want to say thank you for taking it in. Thank you for chiming in. And Danny, we just got to have you back. We got to continue talking about what it is
Thank you
that
for
you're
having
doing.
me. I appreciate you.
Yes. That
Yeah.
healing
Oh, I
journey.
got a lot of stuff, a lot of irons in the fire. So believe me, we will be back. We'll be back. We're glad that you had us on. And, this is not the last that you guys will see a Pretty Little Bastard Child. I got my first letter of intent to put Pretty Little Bastard Child into a series that's going to go on the streaming network near you. So be on
Wow.
the lookout.
Wow, that is going to be awesome,
Mm-hmm.
awesome, awesome. And we will drop in the
Yeah.
link so that you can see her documentary. So we'll make sure that you have that in the thread that
Mm-hmm.
shows this on Facebook.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And we'll also put it on the YouTube channel so you'll be able to actually see the link and have access to the
Thank
documentary.
you.
Let me tell you something. You won't be bored.
Mm-hmm.
You'll be stay tuned through the whole journey because she just keeps you engaged. Excellent job. I can't say it enough. And make sure that you reach out and get connected with Danny. She's on social media. She's
Thank
on
you.
Facebook,
Thank you.
LinkedIn, IG. Right? You're on IG. Do you do TikTok?
Yes, I'm at Arthur. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. I'm on TikTok, but I don't go in there that often. I do TikTok, but I'm not there all the time. So if you're looking for me, look for me on Instagram or Facebook. I'm pretty sure that it's all through, the documentary. It's all through, all of the magazines.
Yes.
I'm not on LinkedIn. That's the only one I'm not on. And I
Oh, okay.
was
So
on
you're
there
not on
years old, but I don't know what happened. When it first came out, I was on it, but it's about to be back on it. And but look, contact Marissa. She knows how to get to me. Okay.
Yes, absolutely. Send them
No,
my
but
way.
I'm at Arthur
Send them
Danny, Arthur Danny.d3. Yeah, yeah. And I'm at Arthur Danny. I'm at on TikTok. I'm at Arthur Danny 64. I'm at Author Danny D3 on Instagram, and my full government is on Facebook, Danielle and Dubois Matthews. However, that's because it's so many of my old friends that I'm trying to get in contact with because I got an idea for another documentary that's going to be so
Yeah,
dope.
and I
So I'm not
can't
going to
wait.
change that until I get in touch with all the people. So, but thank
Awesome,
you,
awesome.
Marissa. I
Can't
love you,
wait.
sis. You keep doing
I
what
love
you're
you.
doing because I can't grow without being a partner to you guys. So thank you.
Yes, yes, yes. Teamwork makes the dream work. Ladies and gentlemen, we love you. We're out. Be blessed. Have a
Thank you.
wonderful rest of the evening. We're out.